Today I'm talking all about high flyers, specifically in the career space, and I've titled this one 7 qualities. Seven qualities. The 7 is not a magic number, it's just what I was able to put together. I'm sure there's 10 or 15 or 1 million, but anyway, 7 in today's episode. So 7 qualities that distinguish career high flyers from the rest. Welcome to the Super Abundant Life podcast, where we teach the Bible in a simple, authentic, and practical way so that Christians can skillfully apply the Word of God to create supernatural results in every area of life. This is your host, Olawumi Brigwe. In every sphere of life, there are few people that seem to perform remarkably and they rise significantly above all others. There are people who attain exceptional achievements in record time. I mean, you're starting to get an idea of what I mean by a high flyer. Now, if you study these people, and you could also be one of them, so I'm doing this for 2 reasons. You could say, all right, I want to become a high flyer in my career. Or you're saying, I'm already a high flyer, but I don't even actually know how I got here. Because you're saying, okay, I want to go to the next level and I'm not really sure what I did that got me here. So whether you're already flying really high in your career or you desire to, there are certain unique qualities that set high flyers apart. But they're not hidden. They're not secrets. If we can just identify them and begin to deploy them, we get the same results. These results are not reserved for a select few. So in this episode, I'm going to unveil 7 qualities that high flyers tend to have in common. I did extensive research. I looked back at some of my own experiences in the professional industry, experiences with people that I coach that I know are high flyers, and also research as well. So all of that I've put together to identify 7 qualities that I believe high flyers have in common and how you can leverage them to make significant progress in your career or in life in general. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, who is a high flyer? All right, I need to define that. Deloitte, the consulting firm Deloitte, defines a high flyer as someone who has risen through the ranks to take on a senior position more rapidly than their peers. So essentially they're saying, and I completely agree, for someone to be a high flyer, they need to have risen significantly. So they've made quite a jump, number one. And number 2, they've done it in record time. They did it faster than average. So in other words, high flyers are described as individuals who perform above and beyond what is expected, and in doing so typically reap a substantial sum of the rewards. Okay, so does that clarify for you? So significant jump and in a record amount of time. That's where career high flyer is. And to extract these 7 qualities, I'm going to teach from the parable of the talents. Now, I saw these in the Bible and then I cross-referenced my notes from my own experiences, from my research, and from my coaching clients, and I found all of these 7 qualities to be true and to be real. You know, what do I keep telling you on this podcast? Everything you need to know is in the Bible. You just need to ask the Holy Spirit to open your eyes. Okay, every single one of these qualities I got from the parable of talents, and when I cross-referenced, they were all there in the lives of the people that have been identified as career high flyers. Yeah. So Matthew 25 is where the parable of talents is. I'm going to read a portion of it. It's quite a long text, so I don't want to take up too much time in the podcast reading out the whole text. So I'm going to read out bits of it and then launch into describing what those 7 qualities are. Right, so it says, again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of a man going on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it in proportion to their abilities. Now, people have sort of explained this parable in terms of abilities as their innate abilities. I strongly disagree with that. I don't think it has anything to do with their quote unquote potential. I believe that it has something to do with their demonstrated ability. So the person that got the 5 bags, when it says according to his ability, means that he had operated and achieved results at a far greater level compared to the person that got the 2 bags of silver and the person that got the 1 bag of silver. Okay, so he gave it to them based on their track record, because you don't give 5 bags of silver to an intern that hasn't proven himself, no matter how much no matter how much potential that person appears to have. You don't call somebody that literally just started work, entry level, and you say, come and sit at board level and we need to make a decision about $1 billion. And you say, okay, what should we do? No, they haven't proven themselves. So it was not innate ability, okay? So clearly the first thing I want to establish is the person that got the 5 bags is the high flyer compared to the other 2. Why? Because their demonstrated ability is significantly higher than the other 2. Now, the person with the 2 bags of silver is clearly on the way there. And if they maybe observe the person with the 5 bags and begin to implement some things, they too will literally accelerate to the point where they're regarded as a high flyer. But in this parable, the 5 bags of silver guy is the high flyer, and I'm going to be comparing him with the person that got the 1 bag, who basically is, I don't want to use any bad words, but well, let me call him what the master called him, what Jesus called him. Say it was a lazy and wicked person. This is the kind of person, if we bring it in colloquial terms, in today's terms, is someone that literally goes to work simply because they want to earn a salary. All right, they're the kind of people that have this mentality that I can't come and kill myself. I'm just here. I'll just do what I can and be going. They're only interested in whatever the job can give them. They will never go over and beyond. They have no sort of clear plan in terms of career progression. They don't even want to be there. If they smell that something is going wrong with the company, they're not interested in trying to help solve the problem. They're like, Andrew won't check out, and they literally get out of the place. So that's who the guy that received the 1 bag of silver is. The one that received the 5 bags is a career high flyer, and I'm going to be drawing lessons by comparing the 2. Let me continue reading from the Bible. It says, he then left, the master left on his trip. The servant who received the 5 bags of silver began to invest the money and earned 5 more. So you can see that he had demonstrated that he's able to operate at that high level. The servant who with the 2 bags of silver also went to work and earned 2 more. But the servant who received the 1 bag of silver dug a hole in the ground and hid the master's money. After a long time, the master returned from his trip and called them to give an account of how they had used the money. So at this point, because I don't want to keep reading, long text, I'm going to summarize. The guy with the 5 came back, he had made 5 more, he was highly commended. The guy with the 2 came back, he had made 2 more, he was also highly commended. Okay, so let's go back to reading. Then the servant with 1 bag of silver came and said, Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops you didn't plant and gathering crops you didn't cultivate. I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here's your money back. But the master replied, you wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I harvested crops I didn't plant and gathered crops I didn't cultivate, why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? Like, duh. At least I could have gotten some interest on it. Then he ordered, take the money from this servant and give it to the one with the 10 bags of silver, which proves my point that the guy with the 5 bags is a high flyer. Why didn't he give it to the guy with the 2? So if you're operating at a high level, you're taking more risks, right? Investing 5 bags of silver carries more risk, all right, greater risk than the person that invested 2. So the high flyer gets the reward on top of that. So it says, give it to the person that has 10 bags of silver. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. And from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away. All right, so let's compare. And from that comparison, I'm going to draw 7 qualities that career high flyers have in common. Now, these can be translated into other areas of life, but for the purpose of focus, I'm going to stick with the career space. So the first quality of a career high flyer, this is non-negotiable. In fact, they're all non-negotiable, but this one is doubly non-negotiable. And it is this: if career high flyers contribute significantly to the bottom line of the business. Bottom line, meaning the outcome, things like growth. So the business growth, the organizational growth, whether it's in the increase in client number, client base, profits, etc. It's not just, oh, I'm so good at my job, but you are not literally having an impact on the overall growth or vision of that company. So in order to be a career high flyer, you have to be someone that is contributing not just a little bit, but significantly to the bottom line of the business in terms of growth, in terms of profit. You can't just return what you are given like the guy did. You can't just stick to your job description and say, well, I can't come and kill myself. This is the job description. They say I should do this. Well, I've done it. Give me my salary. And you're content with doing that at the end of the day. No, you can never become a career high flyer if you're not having some kind of impact on the overall vision, what has been set as a vision and the mission of that company in that season. And let me also add that it's not just saying, well, I'm helping to contribute. I'm talking about raw numbers, as in numbers, okay? Numbers matter. Volume matters. That is why the guy with the 5 bags literally was rewarded with another one on top of the 5 that he had made. Do you see that? So volume matters. The guy looked at me and said, I gave you 5 and you made 5 more. Wow, you have 10. You mean you've contributed 10 altogether to this company? You helped us grow our profits by this. You've helped us grow our client base by this amount of numbers. Wow, here's another reward for you. So numbers do matter. So that's why I said contribute significantly in terms of tangible contribution. Tangible contribution. Now, people might say to me, like, well, I don't work in a bank now. I'm not an investment banker. So how am I literally going to contribute money to the grid? Okay, let me give you an example. I worked in a professional space for 15 years, almost 15 years, as a teacher. You say, but schools are non-profit. Every pound they're given has to be spent and used for the education of the kids, etc. So how am I going to contribute to that? Let me tell you how I contributed that actually led to my promotion. Results, Nko. What about school results? Because let me tell you something. Schools are funded based on the enrollment of students. So if a school is oversubscribed, is a wonderful thing, because it means that people are rushing to go to that school. It means that parents are like, my child must get into that school, meaning they're always at full capacity. And because they're at full capacity, they will get full funding, because schools are funded per child. They don't just say, okay, we like you people, we're going to give you this amount of money. No matter how good the school is, it's based on the number of children in the school. Do you understand that? So because of that, the way I would play my part is to make sure that if I have an exam year, so I have a year 11 class and they're going to go and do GCSEs, I'm going to make sure that my students do their best and they get the best possible results. And let me tell you what actually led to my own promotion into middle management. And for me, that was a high flying move, because I literally had only been in teaching for a year and a half. It was unheard of to only be new to teaching and then you jump into middle management. It normally would take people an average of 5 to 8 years to do that. But by my second year in teaching, I had gone into middle management as a head of year. Let me tell you what made a significant impact on that thing happening. I was given what you would call a bottom set exam year group. Now, bottom set means that the children are not really expected to get the C grade, and you have to really work really hard and push them, put all sorts of interventions in place, and maybe you can hopefully get 1 or 2 of them to cross the line and, improve the result, the overall results, because the bottom set will significantly impact the overall results of the school. And schools are judged based on results. And the reason why, as a new teacher, I was given that class. So I was teaching them maths, yeah? The reason why I was given that class was because nobody else wanted them. The year before, the deputy head, one of the deputy head teachers in the school had that class. And he literally went to the head of maths, my boss, and begged her. He pulled rank on her because he was obviously way higher than her. I said, please don't give me that class. That class is horrible. And he begged her and cajoled her and said, give it to the new girl. And that was me. And that's how I got the class. And oh my goodness, those kids showed me pepper in the beginning. Me say if I showed them pepper back. Like, my goodness, they were unruly. They didn't want to learn. They were disaffected. They were just like, what's the point of this? Why do I even need a C grade in maths kind of thing? They literally were failing. There was no hope for more than 90% of them to get that C grade, and the government would judge the school based on the number of C grades and above that students achieved. But do you know what put me on the map? I took that class and I was reporting them to God every night. I said, God, you have to show me what to do with this class because they're driving me crazy. I began to research into ideas and literally, to cut the long story short, at the end of the year, once they had done their exams, that class of 30 kids ended up getting far better, as in the best ever results that a bottom set had ever gotten in the history of the school. So they were not even expecting 10% of them to pass and get a C grade. But I think at the end of the day, I think about 70% of them got a C grade or better. And as a result of that, it literally pushed the overall results of the school up in such a significant way that the next year, when the new set of students were coming in, of course, they will look at the league table and say, hey, how did this school perform last year? That there was a record number of parents that were signing up their students to go to that school. Did I or did I not significantly contribute to the bottom line of the school? I didn't make cash. I didn't go out and make money, but I made sure that what I was committed to handle in my own hands had a significant impact, right? A significant impact on the bottom line, meaning the school had a record number of students signing up, which means record funding from the government. So I don't want to hear it. They say, hey, boy, I work in a sector where it's not. No, there's something you can do. Go and ask God. Go and ask God to show you how you can contribute significantly to the bottom line, the numbers. Not just, oh, this person is just fantastic at their job. Is that what we will chop? Go and ask any business owner. It's numbers, oh. If there's no money coming to that business, there's no business, it will soon close. So I don't care how good you are at your job. If you're not in some way contributing to more money coming into that business, listen, you're making the business owner worry, because they'll be like, hey, what? Because cash is king. Money has to come in. So high flyers certainly contribute significantly to the bottom line of the business. The guy that got 5 bags, I said this before, compared to the guy that got 2 bags and the one that got 1, he was bringing 5 bags in. That's a high flyer. Let's move on. The second quality of a high flyer is, look at what this guy, so we're comparing the high flyer with the layabouts kind of guy, yes, the guy with the 1 bag. Look at what he said when his master came back and will say, okay, come and declare your results. He said, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops you didn't plant and gathering crops you didn't cultivate. So he basically was abusing this man. He said, you are a harsh man. You almost like saying, see this man, you be thief. Yes. Why? Because the guy wanted profit. He misjudged his boss's drive for results and said, this is a greedy person. Why are you always saying we should get more profit, Are you not satisfied? No, how can he be satisfied? He's a business owner. He's a business owner. Why do you think your boss and also the company will keep pushing to increase results? So high flyers, they do not misjudge their company's drive for results. They don't start calling people names that these people like money too much. How can you say that? If you are saying that, there's no way you're going to be a high flyer, because it's going to come out in your attitude at work. You're not going to push yourself because you already see them as vultures, that they'll just like money. They just like money. Of course they want money. All right, money is the lifeblood of any business. Without money, the thing is gone. There is no business without money, right? So this guy completely misjudged, said, you are harsh. Why did he say it was harsh? Because he wanted to grow the company, because he wanted to increase profits. And as a result of that, he called him harsh. He called him harsh. High flyers do not do that. The third quality is high flyers are risk takers. You will never see someone that is a high flyer that always plays it safe. They never take measured risks. They never innovate. They never try new things. They just like, if you ain't broken, don't fix it. No, high flyers never have that kind of mentality. Look at what this guy said. How do I know this guy was not a high flyer? He said to the master, the guy with the one bag of silver. I said, I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here's your money back. He was so risk averse that he did nothing. No, you cannot be a high flyer if you're risk averse. You cannot be a high flyer if you're always asking for permission. If you're always waiting for your boss to approve things, if you have been given the brief, if the vision or whatever the project is, the outcome has been made clear to you, if you're the kind of person that you're always wanting to ask, like, okay, hey, so what should we do? And you always want somebody to validate and to tell you it's okay to do it, and you don't literally take the initiative and try and do things. And if it, let's see, I'm even going to go and try this. If it works, wonderful. If it doesn't work, oh, I've learned a way that it doesn't work and I'm going to try another way. So if you're not someone that is open to taking risks, if you're risk averse, you cannot be a high flyer in your career or even in business. As they say, it is better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. If there's someone that is always waiting for something to be approved, and no, that's even good. At least you're thinking of ideas. Some people don't even think about any kind of innovative ideas to change anything. They just want to come to work, do whatever that's been put on that to-do list, do it, and then say, I finished my work for today. That's it. So if you're actually in the frame of mind where you're coming up with ideas, don't stop there. Go out and test it within the remit of the permissions that you've been given. I'm a business owner. This is something that I say to my team. I say it is better for me. See, we would have defined, if you work in a structured organization, if you work in an organization that works, there would be structures in place. All right. And in my company, we have structures in place. Within those structures, I always tell them, don't come and ask me whether you should try something. Go and try it. In fact, you try. I want to be seeing things. I want to open the app, for example, and see something new, something innovative. I want to open and see that, oh, these guys are trying new things. I want to open social media and to see new things like, oh, that's new. That's nice. I want to be seeing stuff like that. Right? And if there's something that needs to be corrected, if I feel like, oh, okay, maybe we should have, it is better for me. I'm happier to come back and say, oh, have you tried looking at it a different way, than for nothing to be coming out new at all. The business can never grow if there's not an injection of new ideas. So high flyers, they know that it is better to ask for forgiveness. In other words, put it out there. If something breaks, fix it, than to just sit down and to be waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You can never become a high flyer like that. So the guy said, oh, I was afraid to lose your money, so I just did nothing. I just held on to what you had given me. The task, the to-do list that you have given me, that was all I took care of. I didn't venture outside of that. And as a result of that, the guy literally, in fact, was sacked, safe. Took less of, it wasn't even that he was not promoted. He was sacked. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. The fourth quality of a high flyer is this: they are creative. They find it easy to think outside the box. So when the master was talking back to the guy with the wand, the layabout guy, he said to him, why didn't you just deposit my money in the bank? At least I could have gotten some interest in it. Meaning, why didn't you think outside of the box? Okay, so you had this idea that, okay, I don't want to lose the money, fine. But why couldn't you just think a little bit outside of that and say, that is an idea, that one is safe, I'm not going to lose the money, and at least it will contribute something to the bottom line. You can see that bottom line is very important to an organization. Profits, growth is important. So don't deceive yourself and say, all I have to be is good at my job. You will not be promoted. It's as simple as that. People that are contributing to the growth of a business get promoted fast. So that at least, even if it is 2% interest that you've gotten on this thing, I will still have been happy with you. But you just came back, you just cleared your to-do list, and that was it. Nothing was added to the growth of the company. No. So high flyers are creative. They're innovative. They sit down and they think. So remember, it links to the last one. You have to first of all be a risk taker. You can't be risk averse. If you're risk averse, then you will not be the next one, which is creative and innovative. If you open up and say, I'm willing to take risks, then the ideas will begin to come. When the ideas come, then you put the ideas out there, test test them. If it doesn't work, say, okay, I put my hands up and I try to increase this, it didn't work, I'm going to go back to the drawing table. But you have to be that kind of person. You must be someone that is creative. They find it easy to think outside the box, to generate ideas. And do you know how that comes? It comes through exposure. It comes through exposure. Exposure, number one, to the mind of God. Do you take your work into prayer with you? Do you say, God, this job that is paying my salary and I really want to be promoted here, do you take it into the throne of grace? Do you say, Holy Spirit, give me ideas? That's one of the most important ways that you open yourself up to creative and innovative ideas. As the Holy Spirit, say, Holy Spirit, give me the spirit of wisdom and revelation. The problem is a lot of people that are career professionals, they don't pray about their jobs. The only thing they ever pray when it comes to job is when they're looking for a job. God, I want a job. Once they have the job, they say, God, I want a promotion. All right, I want more money, right? But how do you get the promotion? You don't get the promotion by God literally just making somebody give you a promotion. He gives you a promotion when you ask him for creative and innovative ideas, and he gives you the strength to implement, you generate big results, then the promotion manifests. Promotion is a fruit. You have to sow the seed for promotion. And what's the seed of promotion? Creative ideas that will contribute significantly to the bottom line. Joseph was promoted, first of all, in Potiphar's house, and then by Pharaoh, because he created ideas that generated income significantly for the economy. It's as simple as that. That's number one, in the place of prayer. Number two, you have to start reading. I mean, all those years in my teaching, with my own money, I would pay for courses. With my own money, I would buy books. I was buying books. I was signing up for courses. I would spend hours in the evening, going on the internet, researching. With my own money, I paid for a master's degree. My own money. My own money, not sponsored by the school. I was not given a penny. I paid for it. Why? Because I wanted to continually grow in that role. I wanted to contribute more. I wanted to increase my influence, my impact, and of course, my income. Do you understand that? Some people never invest money to get ideas as to how to do their job. Nope. Once they close at 5 o'clock, they don't even think about the job again until they resume at 9 o'clock. You're never going to become a career high flyer. So, like I said, number one is use your God factor. Go and ask God for ideas. And number two, use your resources. It doesn't matter whether your company gives you money for that. And you, first of all, take advantage of whatever training your government, your organization gives you. Don't say another day of training, all this training, and we'll be complaining about training. If the training is not effective, you're someone that truly wants to get results, then give them feedback and say, this training you keep making us do is just a waste of time. Oh, let me suggest some other training that will really help me become better at my job. Approach it like that. But, instead of complaining about, hey, they're telling us to go and do training again. Right? Open up yourself. So take advantage of the training that your company provides. And beyond that, I'm telling you, beyond that, using your own personal resources, starting with your time. So outside of you've left work at 5 o'clock, all right? Nobody's expecting you to do this, but you say, this new project that I'm working on, I'm going to go and invest an hour just researching, reading some books on it. You invest your own time, you invest your own money, something they're not going to pay you for or pay you back. If you want to be a high flyer, this is how you operate. Okay? The next one, the fifth quality of a career high flyer is, and again, this is another one that is seriously common. As in, you will not see someone that's a high flyer that does not have this one. They are ambitious. So if you see someone that is quite laid back in their approach, by default, they're not going to be a high flyer. There has to be a level of ambition, an unquenchable desire for more, driven by a vision that is bigger than them. Even if that vision is, I want to send my kids to a private school. It doesn't matter what the vision is. It doesn't matter what is driving them. But there's something bigger than them that drives them to want to climb the career ladder. So they could say, I want more impact. They could say, I want more influence. But something is driving that person. For me, I've always been motivated by greater impact. Greater impact. It is something that drives me so passionately. In my business, honestly, listen, it takes more hassle to run a business than to not run a business. Okay, I'm not struggling financially. You see, I could say, well, this wahala of this business, let me just pack up and be enjoying my life. I can very easily do that. I can very easily do that. If it was about the money, I would not be doing this thing. Okay? If it was about the money, I would not be doing this thing. But I can't even quit if I wanted to, because it's too strong. I want to impact lives. It drives me. Gosh, it drives me. When I get frustrated, I'm like, what is all this? I just remember again that there are people that need this thing, and it pushes me. So a career high flyer will be driven by something that is bigger than them. They will be ambitious. So if I say, oh, I want to become COO and CEO, if you're kind of laid back and sort of like, meh about your career and you contributing to society, I mean, when the first challenge comes, you'll be like, I can't come and kill myself, and you will abandon it. So they are definitely ambitious. The next one is they are diligent. So a career high flyer is diligent. Look at what the master called this guy that was a laborer. Say, you wicked and lazy servant. And I always like to make a distinction between diligence and being a workaholic. I do not in any way subscribe to workaholism or toil. Toil or hustle is a curse. Okay? It's a curse. It's a work and quench. No, it's a curse. Okay? Let me make the distinction. Diligence is doing what it takes to achieve a predefined outcome. Diligence is paying the price to achieve a predefined outcome. Diligence is saying, okay, I'm going to work smart. This is the outcome that we want to achieve. In fact, if possible, I want to exceed that expectation. And if it means that I need to put in an extra hour to do the work, diligence will say, I'm going to do it. Right? If diligence could say that, okay, we've been working, we're not really getting results. Diligence is saying, look, stop everything. I'm going to just take half a day off. You're the lead of a team, for example. I just need time to think. Can you see? So diligence will say, this is not working. Let's take a step back. Everybody take the rest of the day off. Let's go back. Let's sit back and just look at this thing with fresh eyes tomorrow. That's diligence. Toil will say, we must work and quench. You can see the difference between the two. So diligence is open-minded. Diligence says whatever we need to do in order to achieve the outcome, we will do it. So if somebody comes in and says, the way you guys have been doing it, have you tried this other way? Diligence will say, really? Okay, let's try that. All right? Toil, on the other hand, is exerting effort, energy, regardless of progress towards the outcome. Remember when God cursed the ground, said, from the sweat of your face, Adam, you will eat. And even then, with all the work you put into this thing, thorns and thistles will it produce for you. Meaning you will work. But you will not even reap the reward of that work. That's toil. That's being a workaholic. Just working. It may look good. You may be crunching up all the hours. But is it contributing significantly to the outcome? If it's not, you're just wasting time. And people might say, oh, that person works really hard. When it comes to promotion time, they will not promote that person. They will acknowledge that, oh, she's really a hard worker, but is it actually translating into results? Not really. Nope, that person is not going to be promoted. That's how it works. No matter how. So you have to work smart. Diligence is working smart, doing whatever it takes, even being flexible, even taking a step back, even resting. Resting is part of being diligent, because you know that if you rest and then you come back the next day, you're going to perform at an optimum level and it will push you further towards achieving the outcome. That is diligence. That's the difference between the two. And career high flyers are diligent. They don't make excuses. When they happen upon obstacles, they don't say, it might not happen. No, you know what? It's not possible. No, they don't do that. They find a way. Was it not the same master that was dealing with the person with the 1, with the 2, and the 5? How come the person with the 2 and the 5 found a way to generate results? Okay? They still found a way to generate results. Meanwhile, that one was just lazy. He was lazy. He was not willing to push himself. And the last one The final quality of a career high flyer is, this one is so important, they're shrewd. Oh, they're shrewd. What do I mean by that? They know how to relate with different kinds of people, and they can work in high pressured environments. Look at this guy. So the guy that got one bag of silver, he was like, this is my boss. He's an unscrupulous somebody. I don't even want to have anything to do with him. And as a result of that, you say, all these people that are not born again, all these people that are in this one, they're bad, they keep swearing. And as a result of that, you remove yourself from the circle. And you say, I can't really hang around with people like this. No, you can't take it personally. It's a business. It's a business. Say, I'm only going to work with a certain kind of people. This guy, if he has the idea that you need that will contribute to the bottom line, will you now say you won't work with him? People that only stick with their clique, they only hang around people that look like them at work. Even if there's only one other black person in the company of 100 people, they will never talk to another person except that one black person. They will never go to lunch with somebody else except that one black person. You are never going to become a career high flyer. I say, it's only Christians, all this one that they keep telling dirty jokes. Must you laugh? And if you laugh, you see... You tell God that, God forgive me, I didn't want to laugh, but the joke was funny. Do you understand? You have to be shrewd. Jesus said, I have sent you, how? As sheep among wolves. You're going to have to deal with wolves. You're going to have to deal with people that are unscrupulous. You can't run away and say, I don't want to have anything. No, you have to work with them, and you have to reach the outcome. The prescribed outcome by working with these people. So you have to learn how to manage different kinds of people. Somebody throws you under the bus and you blast them. You have to learn how to, use tact. All these kind of things, being able to relate to people, being able to handle people. It matters. You cannot be a career high flyer if you don't know how to handle people. If every time somebody says something, you get upset and you start shouting and etc., etc. No. Or you start sulking. No, you have to learn how to deal with people. You must be shrewd. You must be shrewd. Do you understand that? It's important. If you don't know how to relate with different kinds of people and you are always passing judgment, and the moment somebody starts to behave funny, you want to pull rank on them, etc. No, you have to know how to win people on side. They may not like you, but at least sell the vision to them long enough for them to commit to do what they need to do in order to reach the end of that project. You must be that kind of person if you're going to become a career high flyer. It's as simple as that. You must know how to relate with wolves. You must know how to get along with wolves. Jesus said so. He said, be wise as serpents, but gentle as doves. Meaning, don't compromise your values. Don't say, these people that are doing unscrupulous things, in order for me to gel with them, I need to do unscrupulous things. He just didn't say become a wolf. He said be gentle like a dove, but be wise, cunning, like a serpent. Jesus said so. Do you understand that? So it's important for you to be able to deal with different kinds of people, because the higher you go in an organization, the more you're going to be exposed to things like politics. The politics gets ramped up. In fact, let me give you an example. When I was promoted to middle manager and I was young, okay? And there was this deputy head teacher. She was way higher than me, at least 3 levels higher than me. And something happened with a student, one of the boys in my year group. So I was responsible for a year group as a head of year. But this person was the senior deputy head. So she basically brought the student to me and said, this person's in your year group, this is what they did, etc. And handed the child over to me. And I went into efficient mode. Okay, this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And I put all those things in place. And the next thing I heard was this woman behind my back had gone to report me to another senior leader. In fact, I think maybe the head teacher or something, and was bad-mouthing me. I was saying all sorts of things about me. I said, what did I do? And no courtesy. I mean, she was not even my direct boss. She was like my boss's boss's boss. She could have come to me. She didn't go to my boss. She basically wanted to just like this young person that you went to promote. You people don't know what you're doing. What are you doing going to promote this new teacher? What does she know? So she basically just threw me under the bus. She didn't do it for feedback. If it was for feedback, she would have come to tell me. If it was for feedback, she would have turned to tell my boss. She didn't do any of that. She basically, and when I heard, I was just like broken. I was just like, oh my God. And it really affected me. I think this was like first couple of weeks in my new role. And I was just like, oh my God. I was so upset. I just carried on. And then another deputy head teacher, so someone on the same level as her, came and found me. So she heard what had happened and all the wahala the woman had caused. And I believe God sent her. Me, I believe in the mercy of God. So she came and found me. She came into my office and she said, let's have a chat. And she basically started to comfort me, said, don't worry about it. These things happen at this level. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Don't let it get. And she basically started to teach me that, listen, the way you were behaving when you were just a teacher is different. You have to know that at this level, the politics is multiplied by 1 million. And she basically said, don't take it to heart, don't take it personally, otherwise it's going to affect your relationship with her. And, you have to work together with her at some point, etc. And she basically started to advise me. Do you see what I mean? So I went to God, prayed about it, and I removed it from my heart. I removed the unforgiveness. The next time I saw her, I was smiling, and I genuinely was smiling. And the next time she needed my help, I went over and beyond. And I literally won this woman over, and she became one of my greatest supporters in that place. So that's what I mean, that you have to work with different kinds of people that are contentious, people that are lazy. You work with a team of people and one or two people are lazy. You have to know how to work with them and get them doing their jobs. So it's so important. You have to be shrewd. You can't just be judgmental and say, look at them. The same way that guy will say, look at you, you're just harsh. You're just greedy. What do you need all that money for? You can't become a career high flyer like that. Okay. All right. So I hope that helped you. Those are 7 qualities that are common, that cut across career high flyers. If you're one, how many of these do you recognize in yourself? Which ones have I missed out on? I want to hear about them. And if you're somebody that is looking to become a career high flyer, look at all these. I'm pretty certain there's some that you're already exhibiting. You may just need to ramp up on some of the others. So look at the list again and say, okay, which one do I start cultivating intentionally because I want to start to rise really fast in my career? Okay. Thank you very much. This is Allow Me Brigwade. Have a wonderful week. Bye.